When I had only 28,000 subscribers on this channel, I made $100,000 in 1 month. Now listen, I want to be really upfront and real about something before we get into this any further, because I know what you're thinking and I don't want this to be another one of those videos. This is not YouTube is easy and you should quit your job and make a bunch of money kind of video. This video synthesized or was created strictly from it being something I wish existed before I did what I did. The one that tells you exactly what it actually took, the math, the strategy, the emotional reality of it all of it when it comes to making serious money with a small channel. Because I almost didn't make it through that month multiple times. I almost lost everything multiple times. My goal here is that by the end of this video, you're gonna have a super clear framework of how a micro channel, I'm talking about like a channel with 30,000 subscribers or less really, can generate serious revenue. And more importantly, you're gonna understand exactly what that journey actually costs you. So this all started in November of 2025, and Gary Vaynerchuk posted on Instagram about something called the Stand Store Challenge. It was a competition with 5,000 other entrepreneurs all competing against each other to see who could generate the most revenue in about 6 weeks' time on a platform called Stand Store. And whoever won, Gary Vaynerchuk flew out to New York City to spend the day with him and his team. And when I saw that, something just clicked inside of me. I remember seeing it and thinking, there is no reality that exists that I'm not going to win this. There is no way I will not win this. At the time, I was making around $8,000 a month in recurring revenue, which is fine, I guess. I was proud of it more or less, but I also knew that there was a massive gap between where I was and where I knew I could be. I mean, I had started and failed 13 businesses before this one that I'm doing now, 13. I'd spent $53,000 on coaching and mentorship in 2025 alone, not because I didn't know what to do. I knew exactly what to do. I just hadn't really done it or gone all in to my full potential with everything I had in my favor yet. And I felt like this was my moment, and I could literally feel it. The problem was I only had 28,000 subscribers, and some of the people I was competing against literally had over 1 million followers, but on Instagram. So here's the thing that most big audience creators don't ever really understand. And it's that the entire reason I believed I could win, it wasn't delusion. It was, I knew that a small YouTube channel isn't a disadvantage if you've built it right. It's actually a depth advantage. The people on Instagram and TikTok that I was competing against with 1 million plus followers, I knew that their audiences were wide but shallow. I knew that with those short form, quick interaction platforms, little real trust is ever built. Whereas my 28,000 subscribers at the time had watched me for sometimes hours and hours on end. They'd heard my philosophies, my perspectives. They'd seen how I think, watched me break things down, strategies in real time. And that was a completely different relationship. And when it comes down to converting an audience into buyers, trust is the only currency that actually matters at the end of the day. So I walked in, I approached this competition knowing one thing: I could not out volume these people. That was impossible. I didn't have enough time or resources. I couldn't do it. They had a more volume, a wider net of people, but I knew I could out convert them if I built the right offer, priced it correctly, and launched it the right way. And that was the bet that I took. Abraham Lincoln said, I might butcher it, something along the lines that became my entire ethos for that month. He said something like, give me 6 hours to cut down a tree, and I'll spend the first 5 sharpening the axe. Before I posted a single video, before I sent a single email of outreach, I sat down and reverse engineered the entire thing. I spent those first hours sharpening my axe. And I knew it had to start with the math, because the math, this is the part nobody ever shows you. And this is so extremely important to nail down. It's something that I've learned from one of my mentors, Tom Noski. So shout out to him. Now, I didn't know exactly how much I needed to make to win, but I guessed and did a lot of thinking and thought, I think that I would be safe and probably win this if I could generate $100,000 in this 6-week contest. So I knew I needed $100,000. What other facts did I know I had? I knew that my audience at the time was exactly, I remember, 28,102 subscribers the day that I was planning this out. It's ingrained in my brain. I also knew that the average conversion rate from an audience on YouTube, like warm audience, to becoming buyers, more or less across every education niche, every offer type, it sits around 1%. This is not pessimism, that is reality. So 1% of 28,102 subscribers is roughly like 281 customers. Great, now I have numbers. So I go $100,000 divided by 281 customers. That equals around $355 per customer. But here's the thing, I wasn't betting on best case scenario. I planned for worst case scenario. So I cut that in half. I said, okay, what if my average conversion rate is only 0.5%? which meant if that was the case, the average revenue per customer to be closer to around $700. And that is how I figured out my pricing before I even figured out what I was gonna sell in order to reach my goal. Then what I did is I looked at my audience, because every audience has 3 tiers. There are new people who are coming in for the first time, beginners just getting started, looking for a place to start or learn. These are your new audience members. Then you have your second bubble of members, which is the casual audience. These are people who are slightly more engaged. They've probably subscribed to you at this point. They're interested. They have maybe some skin in the game with you. Then that third bubble are your core viewers. Maybe for you, those are like the entrepreneurs or the serious operators or the people who are just obsessed with you, your biggest fans. They just need the right help from you. Now, I knew that if I approach this contest only building one offer, I'm going to be leaving 2 of those groups on the table. I'm going to be leaving money on the table. So what I did is, based off of my audience structure, my new casual and core audience, I built 3 offers. For my new audience, I built a fully do-it-yourself pre-recorded course for $300. For my casual audience, I built a 60-day done-with-you consulting offer for $5,000. And for my core audience, I built a full agency. I'm running your YouTube channel for you. It's $8,500 a month. I created one offer for each one of those audience segmentations, and that way nobody got left out and no money was left on the table. Now, I want to stop here and say something very specifically. Now, if you're waiting for AdSense and brand deals to be the thing that changes your life, I'm not going to tell you it's impossible. I've made some real money from both of those things. And I don't want to burst your bubble, but I do want you to understand the ceiling that you're accepting if that's your primary strategy. Because AdSense, it pays you for attention that you already gave away. A sponsor pays once for an audience that you spent years building. Your own offer, that pays you for the trust that you've built, which continuously compounds every time you post. The month that I went all in on my own offer with my own content, built from my own specific audience's specific pain points, it was mind-bending. I earned 100K. I knew it was possible in theory, but actually watching it happen is a completely different experience. There are so many gurus out there talking about how to make money, and I'm sure that some of them, I know some of them, are genuinely true behind what they say. I would say though, a majority of them have either never actually earned the amount that they're claiming they've done, or if they have, they are painting a false picture of reality, because I need to tell you about a part of earning as much money as I did with a YouTube channel in 1 month's time that nobody ever talks about, the during. I love the marathon analogy from Alex Hormozi because I myself have run several marathons, so it really hits home. But running a marathon, it has the exact same emotional arc as what I went through during that month. Because at the start of a marathon, everyone's cheering for you. It's literally electric. You're super fired up. The crowd is loud. You feel unstoppable. But the middle, 26 miles of silence, no crowd, no cheering, no applause. It's literally just you, the road, and the voice in your head that is against you, spending every second trying to convince you to just stop and quit. That month, I wanted to quit several times. I questioned everything. There were moments where I genuinely had no clue if I was going to make it to that number. What got me through it was 2 things. One, and I know that this sounds extraordinarily lame, but I had specific songs and specific thoughts that I used almost like a switch. This is something that I was able to use to kind of tap into like this mode that completely changed my state. I actually later found out that actors do something extremely similar before sometimes like emotional scenes or whatever. Athletes do this before competition. What I did is I used it when I felt like the wheels were starting to come off and I needed to dial back in. Because when I found the right combination of the right song and the right thought, nobody on this planet was able to outwork me in that moment. Now, 2, the second thing that I did, I tracked everything like an obsessive psychopath. Every video, email, click, every conversion. Because what most people do when nothing is working is they blow up their entire business, everything, and they start over. They rebuild the offer, they change the niche, they pivot completely. But when you're tracking your numbers like an actual psychopathic freak, you might find out that your emails have a 40% open rate, which means that's really good, by the way. It means people love and trust you. But if you track the numbers correctly and you look at how many people who are opening the email are actually clicking to my link inside of the email that lead to my paid offer, you might find that it's 0.9% or something. Well, if you track the numbers obsessively like a psychopathic freak, you wouldn't have to think the worst case scenario and think that your offer sucks or think there's a problem with your audience. You would realize that's a small issue. You suck at writing emails. So all you need to do to fix this is write better emails in this case scenario. The numbers always tell you what to fix. Your gut will tell you always to quit. The numbers will tell you to just, in this example, write better emails. And then literally by that one small micro fix, you could increase your click-through rate and your conversions into sales massively. This is why it's so important to track your numbers. Long story short, I hit $100,000 in a month, and it was one of the most complicated feelings I had ever felt. Real pride. Like 8 years of trying and failing. At one point in my journey was so broke I couldn't even afford to buy my precious little son baby food. Like, what a loser. And I had 13 failed businesses prior. I was down and out, 53K in mentorship and coaching. And finally, I knew what it actually took to do this. I knew what it felt like. But I also knew now with certainty that this was genuinely the hardest thing I'd ever done. Not YouTube gurus say it's hard, kind of hard, actually hard. And when anyone tells you otherwise, they've either never done it themselves or they're trying to sell you something. Or because there are people who I'm friends with who do make that amount and they have a great life because they are just genuinely way smarter and have way better systems. Fair enough. But it's very few. However, there still is no version of this where it's easy. There are smarter systems. There are people with more knowledge. There are more sustainable approaches, but the difficulty doesn't disappear. You just get better at moving through it. So all this to say, that month was over. I won. Gary Vee flew me out. I got to spend time in New York, see him. It was really, really cool. Then January hit, and the month after I made almost nothing because after that sprint, I had absolutely nothing left to give. The burnout that I hit was one of the worst I've ever experienced at the time. I'd been running a full sprint for 30 days straight with no plan for what came after. I won the race, but then I collapsed at the finish line. My heart exploded. And the lesson there is really simple. A sprint needs a cool down. If you go that hard for that long, you need an intentional decompression strategy on the back end of it, not a total collapse. You need a plan. That's something I didn't have and I paid the price for it. What I want to do now is I want to distill everything into what actually matters for you. So first, please know your numbers before you build your offer. Figure out your desired revenue, your audience size, your realistic average conversion rate, and then the price of your offer comes from that math, not from what just feels right intuitively. Second, build for all three of your audience tiers, your new, casual, and core audience. Don't leave 2/3 of your table empty. Thirdly, expect lower conversions than you're hoping for, and don't let that break you. It is so discouraging. Even in the month where I hit 100K, the percentage of people who I thought were going to purchase from me or engage or convert versus the reality of who actually did, man, that stung. That's a reality. So prepare for it emotionally, not just mathematically. And then fourth, track everything. Your numbers will always tell you what to fix way faster than your feelings ever will. And the fix, when you track your numbers and let the numbers translate what the issue is for you, the fix is usually 1,000 times easier than your emotions are telling you. Fifth, your content and your offer have to be pulling in the exact same direction. You need a strong synergy between your audience, the content you create, and the offer you have. Because if you want to make real money with content, every video needs to be a bridge between your viewers' current pain point and your solution to getting them to their desired goal. If that bridge is crooked, broken, or whatever, the conversion will fall apart. Now, if you guys have gotten any value from this, please allow me just a couple seconds to share with you what I've built, because I'm currently right now on a journey now to try and win the Skool games. It's where a company called Skool will fly you out to LA, the winners of this contest, to meet Alex Hormozi and Sam Ovens, two of my idols in the business space. Now, I have a Skool community that you can join. It is paid, but every person who joins, it will allow me to get up in the leaderboards and potentially get closer to winning. And for the first 50 people who join, I am getting on a one-to-one full coaching call where we map out and get you extreme clarity on where you're at, on what format you should be posting, what videos you should be posting, your hooks, your titles, your thumbnails, your monetization strategy, all of it. You will get that completely for free just by joining. In addition to everything else you get by joining the YouTube Blueprint Pro, which is my Skool community. I mean, it is jam-packed with value. If you would just please click the link below because I have a video that explains it all. I don't want to waste your time here if you're not interested. So anyways, guys, I would massively appreciate you if you join that. Click the first link in the description below. And if this video at all made something click for you or you got value from it, good. But that click or shift without next steps, it's just inspiration and it fades fast. So you could do two things as a next step. One, which I would love, you could join my Skool community right now, the YouTube Blueprint Pro. Or two, you can watch this video next, because I think this video is a really, really valuable video for you to watch directly after this one. I appreciate every single one of you who have watched this far. You guys are real ones. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.